Chapter 115 to 116. In Dressrosa, Don Quixote do Flamingo was in a room with a few people in front of him. "All right then, I will go in." Machvise, a member of the Don Quixote pirates, the one with Tonton Fruit, said to Doflamingo in front of him. "Yes, be sure to avoid the golden dust at all costs," Duffy said. "This time we won't fight. We would rather offer an alliance. The occurrence of another emperor will change many things, so I need to act more cautiously." "I understand in. Ni-he-he-he-he." Machvise laughed reassuringly. Doffy grinned. He knew Machvise wasn't strong enough to beat Tesoro, but this was sufficient. He would only be used as the medium to offer an alliance. Doffy believed Tesoro would accept it, since he's going as far as sending one of his executives, rather than just calling him through a snail. "But if he doesn't, I will just keep hunting him down." Cuckoo. Doflamingo chuckled while planning for the future. He felt that something big would happen, and that big thing would be surrounding him. A few days later, in a certain place of the New World under the sea, a submarine could be spotted. It was golden in color and had an S written on its wall. It was a submarine made of gold. Reiki was riding it with two automata accompanying her. This was a submarine made of gold and sea prism stone. It was only partially made of sea prism stone, as Amon didn't have an unlimited supply of it. Still, Sea King stayed away from it, because they confused the ship's presence with the sea itself because of the sea stone. This is the tactic Marines are yet to find, but Amon did knew it because of his cannon knowledge. This was one of the 5 submarines Amon had of the S model, and more are being made in real time. Suddenly, Baraboop. Inside the ship, Raki was looking outside the window of the submarine. This beauty is on par with outer space. Indeed, the space was beautiful, but it didn't have creatures swimming on it like the sea. To Raki, who has fought many battles in space, this was even more beautiful. Humans don't even know the secrets of the sea, but they want to discover the secrets of space? Ridiculous. But this is just proof of human greed. Roar! Suddenly, hearing a roar and seeing a Sea King approach the ship, Raki gripped her sword tight. Phew! But sensing something, she stopped midway. The next second, many guns came out of the ship and shot towards the Sea King. Pew, 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 pew. Roa, Baraboop. In seconds, the Sea King was killed. The blue sea turned red. It was a strong Sea King to have even found the location of this ship, but it couldn't survive 2 seconds in front of these weapons. It just sank deeper in the sea. "Ma'am, you can rest. Short Motor shall take care of the thing." The reliable Short Motor had used the ship to kill the Sea King. Beside him, an automata with a similar appearance replied, "Indeed." This was Ghost Motor, another body of Short Motor. Short Motor seemed to become infuriated hearing this. He looked back with angry eyes. "Hey, you idiot! Why are you replying to me?" "Huh? It's my mouth. I say anything I want." The 2 robots started to fight among themselves, or it should be said, one robot started to fight himself. It was as if a guy was using an alt account to fight himself. Truly lonely. Raki endured it for 3 seconds before she looked at the 2 after her veins popped up. "Shut up!" Raki's scream almost shattered the glass of the submarine. This hurt the automata's sound receptor mechanism too. Ah! The 2 robots took steps back in unison. "You want me to tear you apart?" Reiki glared at the 2. They sure were brave to fight when she was enjoying the scene outside. "If you really want to, fight on your heads. Aren't you 2 connected anyways?" That's right." Sighing, Raki went back to the sightseeing while the robots did as asked of them. Amon asked Raki to visit Gran Tesoro and wreak havoc. She wasn't given any restriction on what she can do, so she was happy today. She also wanted a bounty. Soon after Amon's bounty was revealed, Wiper got a bounty of 500 million bellies. Yet she didn't have any. Since people didn't see her heroic battle, they were already knocked out by Amon's haki. So she was excited about this raid. She was feeling like a pirate today, so she even wore an eye patch. Hey, I heard the owner of the Tesoro is a strong guy, and he even has strong subordinates. Raki had a few sheets of paper in her hand. If I take down the richest man in the world, then I will surely get a good bounty. Raki giggled while reading the sheets. They contained the detailed power of the people she will have to face, though Amon deliberately hid the weakness that he knew by watching the movie One Piece film gold. He wanted Raki to face a little disadvantage. She had it too easy these days. Raki was someone who relied on her power most, but she wasn't dumb in any sense. She was confident, but wasn't overconfident. When she learned that she can check her enemy's powers written on these sheets of paper, she didn't think it would hurt her pride by doing so. Gran Tesoro, a massive ship that is also the biggest entertainment city. It's a floating city that roams around the New World. It is a famous place for rich people, world nobles, and figures from the underground world to spend their time on. Raki read out loud. Eternal log pose pointing to the island is buyable from the underworld, and that's where Amon got one for Raki. The automata were using it to navigate. The ruler of the Tesoro is a smart and strong man, as it took Luffy's gear forth to beat him. His gold fruit was acquired from Doflamingo. He stole it, so Doffy is always after his head, though he was unable to touch him to date. For that reason, he was trying to ally with him. He felt going after his head won't be a good idea anymore. This alliance was supposed to form 3 years later, if this was the original timeline. But Amon's presence changed things, though it doesn't matter much. Same time, War! Master Tesoro. Kaya! In the grand blue sea, a massive golden ship was floating. This was the biggest entertainment city in the world, Gran Tesoro. Yo-ho! I'm here for everybody! Gil Tesoro, the owner of this ship and the holder of 20% of the world's economy, was singing on a platform with liquid gold under it. He was using his fruit powers to make a show around his foothold. Whoa! People were cheering for him. To most of the people living here, he was a hero. But there were a few who knew the dark secret. They were forced to stay silent, or they would have been sent to the prison under the ship. Tesoro used golden dust spray on the entrance of the ship. Someone who was showered by the dust would be under Tesoro's mercy because of his powers to control gold. Even a Revolutionary Army member lost to him. Though this was confidential knowledge, it was then, Mwahaha! A pirate ship came from the entrance. It was a random pirate crew trying their luck at this luxurious ship. A short and fat man was standing on the deck of the ship. He had his sword pointed towards Tesoro, who was singing, Tesoro, I have come here to claim this ship. Hand it over, Muha. Seeing Tesoro ignoring him and singing, he ordered his subordinates to shoot cannonballs. They did as he asked. Boom! 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 One after another, the cannonballs started to go towards the audience at a terrible speed. Kia! The audience started to scream, and some even began to hug themselves. Oh God! A mother hugged her children, scared that their life would end here and now. Pakt. However, the cannonballs weren't able to hit the audience because the liquid gold on the ship was floating and had formed solid shields that were used to block the cannons. Huh? The captain of the pirates was shocked. He knew Gil Tesoro had the power to manipulate gold, but he didn't think it was this strong. Kek, everyone keep attacking, don't stop firing the cannons. But he didn't give up. He has already come this far after all. He assumed Tesoro would surely run out of stamina trying to block all the balls. Then they would attack. However, his tries were useless. Tesoro didn't seem worried or tired at all. He just formed barriers for the hundreds of cannonballs fired and blocked them all. He wasn't an awakened fruit user for nothing. Everyone, prepare for the show! Tesoro grinned while the audience cheered his name. They were excited that their hero saved them and the show he was about to put on. Tesoro raised his hands and jabbed it down in the air. Shah! Shah! The liquid gold started to dance and made a huge wave comparable to the aggressive sea. Thrash! In a second it crashed into the ship, taking it down in seconds. The pirates riding the ship cried for help, but Tesoro pulled them under the gold water ruthlessly. "Yah!" Tesoro yelled to the mic as everyone did the same. The audience seemed ecstatic. It was then that a submarine slowly rose from the entrance of the Gran Tesoro, coming to the Golden Sea from the Blue Sea. Bearer Boop is Reiki, who's been training for the past 4 years, strong enough to take down an awakened gold fruit user by herself. Even more so, along with his strong and tricky subordinates. Yes, she was more than capable. I am the strongest. Meanwhile, Amon was very busy. He wore his diving suit and a futuristic invisibility cloak. After taking all these precautions, he started to teleport towards a single direction, the direction of Big Mum's kingdom, the Toto land. He was gathering the known red poneglyphs. It's easy to do with his speed and presence-hiding abilities. Roger was able to steal the poneglyphs' contents from there. Why can't I? In this world, there are 30 poneglyphs. Amon had 12 of them on him, or at least their contents. 11 of them were normal ones, containing useless history, and one was a red poneglyph that he copied from the zoo. I also made Robin read the alabaster poneglyph. I have to say, it was a surprising discovery, the Pluton. Just who would have thought something like that is possible? Amon flew past a few birds, but it's not that surprising after seeing Shandora Hall. Speaking of which, I should also visit the AI after I go to Wano. Amon contemplated how to travel to Wano and return safely. Or I can enter her circuits and try to hack her this time. It should be possible if I can brainwash human beings. That's for later. First, the Wano trip. He can go there and return safely, but the problem is the proof the bitch asked for. I know something. Odin's diary. But if he steals it, Yamato will tell Kaido, and Kaido will be after him. And if news gets out about the diary, which contains the journey of Odin, who reached the One Piece, other emperors, pirates, and the government will be more interested in him. That will be too much attention for a single man like Amon, who isn't strong enough to take 2 emperors head-on. For that, it's better to use a scapegoat, someone who will bear his name of Diary Thief. Surprisingly, it isn't a hard-to-achieve feat. A name came to his mind. Portgas, D. Ace. Ace went to Wano in canon, but what about this timeline? He wasn't Fire Fist here. Amon hasn't been here for 4 years, so he didn't know much about the current world. But Robin should have collected everything about Ace, since he asked her to before leaving. Ace is destined to die, even if he isn't Fire Fist anymore. The best scapegoat, the Pirate King's son. Pirate King's son being interested in the journey of Odin, who traveled with his father, would be a believable excuse to the old emperors. They would go after him rather than Amon then. Ha! So easy. Amon grinned while checking if he was going in the right direction using an eternal log pose. This proves everything can be found in the underworld, even the log pose of an emperor's base. Zzz. Amon Pov. Sleepy. I hypnotized the homie door, along with 2 guards who were guarding the poneglyph room. I reached Totoland a few minutes ago and observed things quietly from the shadows as my first move. I would have left if things were looking bad, but they fortunately didn't. After that, I teleported inside the room. Naturally, the room is always highly guarded, but it's still not as guarded as it was when Brook invaded here in canon. The reason being, Big Mum isn't aware that her poneglyphs would be copied today. Even so, it didn't matter, as I was invisible and the fastest creature on the planet. After hypnotizing the guards and Mama's homies inside the massive room, I immediately started to copy the poneglyph. This is easy. Speed truly is everything. Even though I said speed is everything, I was also aware that things might get messed up if I get too caught up in my measly arrogance. General Poff, meanwhile in Mariajois, brother, we are back. Yes, we are back. The two noble brothers, Ainsworth and Berceaudo, who were escorted back to the Holy Land, were acting childish. Ainsworth, what are you doing? Their father, a prestigious world noble even among the nobles, shouted, What happened to you two? You are acting out of your mind. Seeing his eldest and smartest son tilt his head childishly, the old noble gritted his teeth. Ainsworth, you were captured, so you're supposed to be angry. Do you know how worried and angry I was? The two brothers looked confused. Eh? We are back now, aren't we? Doesn't that make everything fine? No, they weren't brainwashed by Amon. They were tortured by Yona and the priests. Yona was very angry, not because she was humiliated, rather because she was angry because they humiliated her lord by making her almost lick their shoes. So Yona used many ways to torture them. They were now eunuchs. All that torture made their mind adopt a happy state so that they don't break down and mentally die. Amon didn't even need to use hypnotism on them. They were weak-willed from the beginning after all. Ha ha, Daddy, why are you so furious? You are getting old, aha. Berceaudo laughed, making the old noble facepalm himself. This is unbearable. What are the elders doing? I asked them to make that boy's bounty more than 10 billion, yet those useless old fools. The prestigious world noble asked the government to give Amon a high bounty, but they weren't able to do so because of the balance. If a young empress suddenly had a bounty surpassing the old ones, they will definitely target him. Although this might seem like a wait, isn't that better plan? It's like summoning the devil. They assumed after Amon would have gotten defeated, the emperors might ally or start a war among themselves. Either way, it would have been a bad decision. Slam. He hardly slammed the table in front of him. Looks like I need to hire mercenaries and pirates. I need my daughter back too. Taking deep breaths to calm down his high pressure, the noble then ignored his two sons. He felt his blood pressure rise the more he looked at their childish behavior. Alas, he didn't know his daughter was already a brainwashed nymphomaniac. In the vast sea of the New World, slash! A battle was taking place in Gran Tesoro. Clang! Raki slashed towards Tesoro's waist, but it was blocked by liquid gold. She was safe from the gold dust since she was in the submarine, so Tesoro was having a hard time fighting against her. Tesoro made a spear of gold and threw it towards Raki. The sharp edge went directly at her face. It seemed it would completely penetrate her head, but she perfectly blocked the attack with her twin swords. Although she blocked the attacks, Raki was still hurt. She had blood dripping down her forehead. Ha! Yet she was grinning. Prepare for destruction. Raki's fast footstep irritated Tesoro as Baccarat also joined him. It seems the tables would turn because Raki's luck was stolen by Baccarat's touch. Slip. While running, Raki slipped on a banana peel and fell on her face. At first, she assumed it was the Kitetsu Blade's fault, who didn't pull this prank in the last 4 years. But soon, she realized what happened after observing the laughing Baccarat. Hey, she just returned a grin. Meanwhile, Short Motor was fighting the through fruit user. The opponent was phasing through all his attacks, irritating him to an unbelievable degree. Motor, who never watched the film Gold, didn't know that the fruit user could only phase through something that wasn't flesh and blood. If he knew, he would have transformed into a liger. Even so, unfortunately, the phase fruit user wasn't alone while attacking Motor. There was the masochistic guy as well. They were teaming up against a single robot. Bam! Something hit Motor in the back of his head as he was flown meters away. If he was a human, he would have become unconscious, but luckily he was a robot. He rubbed the back of his head, which was bent inwardly, as his eyes became sharp. He didn't transform yet since Raki only asked him to keep them in check. But if he transforms into that monster, he would start killing them. But, looking at Raki, who was struggling, he clenched his fist. I need to transform. Groaning, the automata started to transform, making the phase fruit user flinch because of the passive intimidation of the transformation. Motor's transformation wasn't fully flesh and blood. His nose, neck collar and shoulder were still made of metal. It looked rather cool. Seeing his enemies caught off guard, Short Motor then ran towards the through fruit user. Meanwhile, Ghost Motor was flying like Iron Man. He was fighting the other members of the ship who tried to interfere in the battle by shooting lasers and bullets. Bam! Raki was hit in the nose by Tesoro's gold gauntlets and was flung far behind. Fuck, I'm not this weak, but that woman... Raki looked at Tesoro's side, where a red-haired, beautiful, tanned woman stood. She is troublesome. Seeing her gaze, the woman who was wearing a beautiful golden armor giggled. I'm Baccarat. I ate the Raki fruit. Luck fruit. I have the power of luck by my side. I'm Lady Luck herself. Raki's eyes twitched. Raki fruit. Are you making fun of me? She assumed the woman was deliberately doing this. Baccarat didn't answer, confused. What are you talking about? Tesoro laughed. Girl, I don't know who you are, but you are strong. It seems you aren't a pirate. Even if you are, you don't have a big enough bounty to stand out. Would you reveal, why are you here and interrupting my concert? Wait. Suddenly, Tesoro had an idea as he laughed out loud. Could it be that I ever robbed your family and you are here to take revenge? Is that it? Baccarat also laughed with him. She did what benefited her. That's the reason she was working with Tesoro to begin with. If she gets a better offer, she won't think twice to change sides. Tesoro then pointed at Baccarat. Her power is luck itself. She is currently assisting me after stealing your luck. As long as she is by my side, I will be fine. Raki finally understood what she meant as she gritted her teeth. Luck? Fuck it! Raki rushed forward after wiping her bloody lips. Enough chit-chat, you gold bastard! Her grip on her swords was firm. I will cut you in 4 pieces. Raki gripped her sword tight and jumped in the air. She spun in the air once and went towards Baccarat. Tesoro was suddenly alert. He thought the muscle-brain girl would go after him, but to think she would do this. Bro said I should not kill Tesoro unless it's an emergency, but he didn't say anything about others. Raki's sword started to leave 2 after-images. The after-images started to grow big. They became many times bigger than the actual swords and went towards the surprised Baccarat's neck. Cling! However, they were stopped by Tesoro's golden shield. As Raki looked at Tesoro with darkened eyes, her eyes grew. Guild Tesoro was using his powers to make a massive, gigantic armor around his body. This was his iconic technique that he only used when he was serious. Fuck. While the fight was going, among the audience, a member of the Doflamingo Pirates was hiding. Kaya! Monsters! People of Gran Tesoro were running wildly. They didn't expect someone this strong to invade here. Even their hero is having a hard time. The concert ended after everyone ran away from their seats. Everyone was fearful of the battle, but they assumed it would end soon with Tesoro on the winning side. However, some people were praying for Tesoro's loss. They would finally be able to escape this prison named Entertainment City. They had their eyes on Raki, who was now solely going after Tesoro and assumed herself as their hero. The Luck Devil Fruit user was taken away by the automata. This is good. After Short Motor transformed, he easily started to take out the subordinated. The through fruit user can't phase through a living being, so he was easily defeated by Motor's Shigan. He also took out the masochist guy. After that, he went after Baccarat, though even he was unable to defeat her yet. Her luck powers were too OP. Now, with nobody there to mess with her, Raki was thinking of going all out. Clang! Raki blocked Tesoro's punch using her swords. Stopping the massive fist, her arms shook. Her swordsmanship was top-notch, but her strength was measly. 1 year ago on the moon, she faced a limit. She was 17 that year. Her young mind almost collapsed from that limit. Females are physically weaker than males. This is what she learned. Reiki was weak. She once dreamed to protect her brother, but now she was completely aware that it would always remain a dream. Her brother would never need her protection, simply because he was too strong and she was too weak. The gap between them was simply too huge. If so, then I have to stop being a woman. This time, quite literally. Raki thought with a dry smile. She was always confident over the years, from the time she first touched a sword to now. But there were some hiccups in her small and meaningless life. Last year, after she reached her limit, she started to take medicines secretly. They were supposed to change her feminine body to that of a male's. Brother always liked feminine girls. He won't like a girl like me anymore. That's what she thought when she raised the medicine towards her mouth a year ago. But it doesn't matter. I would be happy to just protect him from the sidelines. She bit her lower lip while tears fell down. Reiki started to open the cap of the bottle and pour the liquid into her mouth. 1 bottle would be enough to change her. This was a medicine that some particular female aliens use. She won't have the parts of a male, but her body will change and become too masculine for her taste. Just when she was about to put the liquid in her mouth, she was stopped by 2 hands. Recalling that day, my cheeks hurt. Recalling the slap she received that day, Raki crackled up. Raki made an X with her swords and jumped towards Tesoro's massive self. If you ever try something like this again, I will kill you. At that time, hearing Amon, Raki cried. She wasn't familiar with her brother's cold side, but that wasn't why she cried. Rather, she was simply too happy hearing him. This is not a perfect medicine, but it's better than the one you were about to eat. That's what Amon said back then, while handing over another medicine to her. It was the angel formula that helped him unlock his wings. Raki shook her head and ignored the past. If given a second chance, she wouldn't drink that medicine that her brother made. It was too flawed in her opinion. She didn't eat the man hormone, but rather the one Amon made, so she was still a woman. Fishman karate. Water started to swirl around her sword and her wings. Fire! Reiki's wings soared up, but she also felt pain. Her white wings became partially red because of the blood coming out of the joints. This is what she meant by the flaw. 12 sword style. Just like Zoro's Asura technique, Raki started to have 3 images of herself attached to her. Water Devil Incarnation. As Raki's voice echoed, her swords glowed blue from the water. Psst! Raki's swords, clad in water, rushed forward towards the massive armor's golden neck. The attack was so fast, Tesoro wasn't even able to see it, let alone repel it. Ting! One sword left a scratch on the neck. Ting! The second sword left a scratch bigger than before. Ting! The third sword left a cut in the golden armor. Ting! The fourth sword cut the armor deeply. Ting! The fifth sword left a similar cut. Ting! The sixth sword left a deeper cut. Tesoro's neck was 25% severed from the body, but this wasn't enough at all. It was then Raki's 6 white-red wings that were soaring up became dark. They became ink black with blue water swirling around them. Raki used Tesoro's shoulders to jump up and started to spin fast mid-air. Ting! Ting! Ting, 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 ting. The neck was hit more than 24 times per second until it finally went down. Doop! The severed head fell down from the massive golden giant's shoulder, but it was still standing on its foot. Huff! Reiki grinned while blood dripped from her wings. That was easy. She wiped her forehead sweat as she eyed Tesoro, who came out of the severed head while coughing. Cough, girl, you are powerful. Tesoro believed money is everything. Money can buy everything. "Join me, I will make you rich." Rocky rushed forward while laughing. "Nobody other than him deserves me." Rocky started to stream all her haki and strength to the sword. This technique was an altered version of Rokugan. This time, the shockwave beam would come out of the sword rather than the hand. There are 7 true forms in this style. Form 1 is the weakest, but the only form she can currently use. Slt. It was a silent slash, but the impact almost cut the Gran Tesoro in half. Boom! Zzz. After copying the poneglyph stealthily and leaving a hidden message under a disguise to provoke Big Mom, Amon returned to Skypiean, Shandora. After hiding the large paper which he used to copy the texts of poneglyphs, Amon decided to pay a visit to Tesoro, where Rocky went. He was confident that she would win, but he was worried that she would accidentally destroy the whole ship. It would be a massive loss. Zzz. So Amon again started to teleport towards the largest entertainment city, using an eternal log pose. While going, he had some lingering thoughts in his mind. Sky sword style would be enough to take Tesoro down. Reiki even knows a bit of fishman karate. After using an artificial sea in Moon 4, the place where the waterbenders live, both Amon and Reiki were able to learn fishman karate more efficiently. This time, the breathing problem that a human faces was gone because of the artificial sea and enough oxygen supply, so Rocky was able to learn it too. The waterbender aliens were surprised to see how people, not from their race, could manipulate water so efficiently. Meanwhile, last year, Amon used the Growth Unlock serum on Rocky, which he slowly pushed towards perfection without the AI's help. With the advanced tech there, Rocky was able to unlock her wings, but because of some miscalculation, she can't fully use them. But all it takes is some time and medicine to fix that. That's why she was bleeding, cursing it as a flawed medicine. I can't believe she went as far as using the man hormone on herself. Crazy bitch. Though Amon was also quite satisfied seeing this. That proved Reiki's sense of protection for him, far past her stupid love for him. Meanwhile, there are 7 forms of the Sky Sword style, and many hybrid forms like and. They are nowhere near the actual forms. Each of the true forms are enough to harm an emperor if used correctly. Though Rocky can't even use the first form properly. Her hand will break, it probably did already. It needed an adequate level of strength. Amon had enough to use till the 5th form. But Rocky, a female like she said, didn't have that much. She was right, she was weak, but she won't always be weak if she trained while using Amon's medicines. People underestimate the power of science. Just look at Sanji and then his brothers from Germa 66. Amon flew fast as he finally sighted Tesoro. Speaking of which, Germa is good at brainwashing and cloning. I wonder how they would like a taste of their own medicine. Amon laughed while flying. He decided to pay a visit to Germa 66 after this was done. Ace's plan would be for later. First, he needs to take the gene formula from Vinsmoke Judge. This time, he won't be a rat and offer a marriage proposal. He will just wreck them from the get-go. Amon finally was close enough to see what Rocky was doing. A smirk formed on his face, seeing her grin while looking at Tesoro, who was under her foot. And like he assumed, her arms and wings were broken.